Hello everybody, happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day. I'm John.
So
this is Mark.
This is Dr. Mark with US 1061. So we are out here, we're doing a sweetheart special. We have a special group of people that we're going to see today. So I thought we were coming out here to see a couple, but we're actually out here to see a couple of couples.
Yeah,
yep. So pretty interesting story that you're getting ready to hear. So we have 4 vehicles that we're going to talk about. We also have the family. So I mean, the family has a story that goes back 3 generations.
Well, we're going to get an education on racing.
Yeah.
A whole nother aspect of racing that I didn't realize existed. So for people like myself, this is going to be good, exciting.
So a place that we've never been to. We're out here because we have a sponsor. So our sponsor is
Audio One. We are excited to have them on board. They have been a huge participant in a number of events that we have, but they're now on board with On the Road, and we're excited to have them.
Yeah. So Audio One, they have 4 or 5 locations across Hampton Road. So be sure to check them out. They do all of your custom audio. They'll upgrade your factory stuff. They got the remote starts. They got the subs. They got the boom, 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 and all that other stuff. So be sure to check them out. They're our new On the Road sponsors. Thanks again.
Yep.
So stay tuned because we're going to meet up with the West family, and we also have Crystal out here.
She's going to soon be a West, I think, from what I'm hearing.
It sounds pretty sweet.
Yeah,
so anyhow, stay tuned. We're going to get you guys squared away with the West family and also their variety of cars here. So let's go.
Let's go.
All right, so here we are with the stars of the show here. So we have William Sparky West here. Sparky, introduce us to the family here.
We got Crystal, the wonderful girlfriend, my dad, William West, and Karen Poteet, my dad's girlfriend.
There we go. Fantastic. So today we're out here and we're going to learn about some of your cars and all that. So we've taken a look at them, and just to give our fans a little bit of a background, Sparky's been coming out to shows, and also Crystal's been coming out to shows for years. So they've been supporting. They've both been to the Coastal Virginia Auto Show. We actually asked Sparky to bring out all 3 of his vehicles last year, and it worked out pretty well because he was able to spread out. Had a pretty good time at the show?
Had a great time. Had a pretty awesome spread area. A lot of people come by, got to sit in their cars and take pictures, and it was great for kids.
And then also you walked away with some hardware too, right?
Yeah, actually the Subaru walked away with the Excellent and the Asian import.
There you go. Fantastic. So it was a great show. So we're going to break it down a little bit. And Dad, you've been working with him for a long time doing this. So I heard that you used to race what? What did you used to race?
I ran go-karts.
Okay, ran go-karts.
Back in the early 70s, 80s.
Back before safety stuff, right? did it in flip-flops, didn't you?
Yeah, been on my top a couple times.
There you go. And then with that,
Sparky's actually a 3rd generation racer.
Okay, so Grandpa was a racer
Oh,
too?
God,
Yeah.
What did he race?
He ran at Langley Speedway in the hobby division.
Very cool.
When it was dirt.
I gotcha.
And I think back then they called it Dude Ranch. And then they moved it over to where it's at now, but it was just steel guardrails and dirt.
Yeah, so I mean, we're getting more and more layers of this Langley thing. I just thought it was a place that you went and did Wacky Wednesday at, right?
I think we could do a whole On the Road series on just Langley here from what we're hearing. I didn't realize that there were so many more layers in this, and maybe we can get to that someday. But Langley's a big part of this. So.
I believe it's 61 years.
Wow, there you go.
Out there.
Yeah, so again,
I guess maybe being, sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
I guess being the Valentine's Day, we should probably find out a little background behind these two and how they met. And I think we heard it was through cars, and there's got to be a good story behind it.
I didn't really know we were going to be double dating today, but
maybe we should come over here and. Let's start with Sparky and Crystal. So how did you guys meet?
We met 13 years ago, actually, at my property. Mr. West came and did some plumbing for me at a property I worked at, and Sparky was his helper. And I thought he was cute as a button, and then I found out that he drove race cars and drove a Subi, and I was like, oh well, dang, I'm a car girl, and that just fits. Unfortunately, at that time, Sparky was already seeing somebody, so as respectful as I am, let him be. 13 years later, we kind of see each other at car meets, talked on Facebook. I reached out to him and I said, look, I need a tuner for my Ford. Nobody wants to really mess with Fords. He goes, well, I don't mess with Fords. And I said, okay. And we just started having a general conversation. He said, maybe you should come out and watch me race at Langley. I said, sure. And I did, and pretty much here we are. I never left.
There you go. Well, that's a cool little story. How about you guys? How long have you been together?
10 years.
10 years.
There you go.
Yeah.
10.
Long enough you've lost track now, right?
Yeah, it's been a while.
9 or 10, yeah.
All right, so we're going to split off from here. We're going to get back into some of the cars because we are on the road. We're learning about the cars today. So stay tuned. We're going to break down we have a Legends racer. We have a Miata that you built for Wacky Wednesday racing. We got your daily show car Subaru over here, and then also the black one over here. What the heck are you doing with this black one over here?
Well, we started doing Wacky Wednesday with Crystal out at Langley, and she liked it, and I'm all about Saturday night racing, so I talked to her and said, let's build you a Saturday night car. So now we're building her a Saturday night car.
All right, well, cool. Stay tuned. We're going to find out what's going on. That's is it an Integra?
It's an Integra.
All right, very cool. Right now we see a roll cage and no glass in it. So.
Well, and we also have a story behind Crystal's car here because
the car that's not here.
Seriously not here for some reason, and I heard there's a rental over here for some reason. So I think we need to get into that as well.
All right, very good. Stay tuned. We'll be with you in just a bit. All right, so we're out here with Sparky again. We are looking at his Legends racer. This particular format it's in, it just came from the shop to have some work done. So fill us in on that first.
All right, so it's a 34 Ford Coupe with a 37 Chevy front end. It's currently engineless. Working on that. Last year we had a Yamaha XJ1250 in it, and we took the XJ1250 out, putting a FZ09 engine in. Just got it back. We took and had the whole frame painted and basically building it new, because that's what we do every off season.
All right, so you just said Yamaha, which to me is a motorcycle engine.
It is.
So can you explain how that? I mean, your dad and I were walking around, and there's a Yamaha engine that's back there that's in the car. So how does this all work as far as the Legends series? For those of us, including me, who don't know anything about this.
Yeah, we haven't told our fans anything about the Legends bracket or any of that other stuff. So, you know, again, that's all in one thing. Tell us about the engine, and also tell us what the heck the Legends category is.
Okay. So, U.S. Legends 600 Racing is a series out of Charlotte, North Carolina, and they are a spec series, kind of like Spec Miata, which that is not. That's far from Spec Miata. So, U.S. Legends builds these cars, and they're all spec. The motors are spec, the tires are spec. The only thing that isn't really a spec item is the nut behind the wheel.
Okay.
Now, when you're saying spec, that just means it has to be standardized for everybody?
Yes.
Okay, even playing field again.
Yes. The tires are Hoosier tires, and they're stamped. They have to come from the U.S. Legends dealer. They also have a new rule for this year. They have to be stamped for you to run in Virginia, through the Virginia dealer. But everything on this car is spec'd out, from the bumper to the bumper, to the weld on the front bumper, to the weld on the back bumper, the wheels, the tires, how much you cut on the fenders. Now, the difference on the motors, in the garage we have a sedan that has a 1250 in it, and there's a 1250 sitting in the floor that came out of this car. That's a carbureted, air-cooled Yamaha motorcycle motor.
Okay.
That they've converted to a drive shaft coupler and has a forward back shifter, and it's just 1 forward and 5 back. So over the winter we're converting to a FZ09, so it's a 3-cylinder water-cooled fuel injected motor, and with that it's a whole lot more reliability. It's going to last longer, hopefully it's faster.
Right.
And it's the new wave. It's the newest engine they put in a car in 20 years.
So again, essentially, like you said, you're allowed to change how the setup is, and obviously who's behind the wheel and your capabilities, but everything else is standardized between you and the rest of the folks that are on the track.
Yep, everything is spec'd out on the car. You can run your own spring rates on each corner, what the car looks like, safety-wise, you can do different things, and then to loosen up behind the wheel.
And then you and your dad mentioned Charlotte. Is Charlotte the only place that you can go to do this, or do you go elsewhere with this car?
So the wonderful thing about U.S. Legends and Legend Racing is I can take this car and go from Langley Speedway in Virginia to Las Vegas.
Okay.
They run them overseas in Europe. They run them in California. They run them everywhere.
Okay.
You could literally race this car 3 times a week, easily. They run Tuesday nights in Charlotte on the quarter mile. They run Thursday night in Atlanta, Friday night about it on the south side before they closed, Wake County. You run Saturday night down here in Virginia. You run Sunday up in northern.
Okay. Now I'm assuming that you have sponsors for all of this?
Yes, I have a couple. The biggest is my dad with West Plumbing. But we got Poor Girls and Taylor Waste Services. They come on and help us a little bit. Of course, we're always looking for more because
Right, sure. Well, that's
these things
kind of why I asked the question. I figured there might be somebody out there be interested in sponsoring. So.
there's they don't run on yeah. I haven't found the money tree. So.
You just keep shaking Dad though, right?
I shake Dad and I shake the shipyard for overtime.
There we go.
So when does the race season start?
Practice starts in March. First race is beginning of April.
Okay.
We'll run all the way up. Last year's extended season, normally October, November. Actually, Winter Nationals starts next weekend down in Florida, and so they'll start next weekend, and they'll run. It runs all year.
Okay.
You find your jacket.
So now some of the over and above. What's your speed going around the track with these things on average?
That varies on track. This car here is probably 90-ish at the top end at Langley on a 4/10 mile. Depends on where you go. Years ago down in Carolina, I have drafted in a legend car. You get 3 of them in line, and you start feeling the movement. So that's fun.
There you go. And then how big is your field? Who are you racing against? You got 5 cars, you got 15 cars. How many are on the track at once? These are small cars. We can put a lot of cars on the track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Average, we no lower than 6 or 8. They kind of cap the field in the 30s. Beyond that, gets a little bit crazy.
Yeah,
Well,
30 cars.
Crazy, yeah, at 90 miles an hour. Yeah.
As small as they are, you put 30 cars on the track, and everybody's at different paces, and everybody's everywhere. So 30 cars is about the limit on what we like.
All right, and then on one of your average races, you make it all the way through. Wear and tear on the car. I mean, these things. Rubbing isn't racing with these cars, right?
You rub with these, and normally you end up on your head or against some concrete.
Yeah, because you got rubber on rubber, so they're going to grip and rip.
Right.
Yeah, these are fiberglass. There's not a whole lot to them. They don't. They give. So when you hit rubber to rubber, normally bad things happen.
All right. So it's a real talent and skill to be able to get up to this level because you've been racing these legends for how long?
I bought my first Legend in 2004 and started racing in 2005.
Okay, so that's a good long while that you've been in these, and this is what I know you for, is that this little tiny car, because I just always thought it was cool.
I won the semi-pro state championship for Virginia in 2007 and the pro championship 2015.
There you go.
So I would like to make a run at it again, but you have to run at least 25 races, typically, to keep up.
Being a grown-up is tough, ain't it? Yeah, responsibilities and jobs and all that.
Racing every weekend, and I gotta shake the shipyard tree to get some money to run these.
Well, and I'm interested as we move down the line because I'm thinking, I know Crystal drives one of these, I think.
She might.
We got all these cars here and you as the driver, because I know Dad's the head mechanic, but...
Yeah, it's, I started in 96 when I was 8 years old. I started in a little go-kart. I was about yay high. I'm not much taller now. But I started when I was 8. And,
well, we understand it runs in the family. Your dad and your dad's dad.
Yeah, my dad ran, and my cousin ran, my uncles ran. My mom and dad met at a racetrack because my grandpas were racing against each other. Racing goes deep.
All right, we like it. All right, so we're going to move on down the line. We're going to take a look at your modified Miata here.
All right, so we've moved over, and again, this is a huge learning curve for me, and I'm sure maybe for some of you out there. So, Sparky, go through. I mean, first thing I notice is there's an inspection sticker on here, so that must mean that you're able to run it on the normal roads. So, go through this car and the class that it's in.
Okay. This is a '96 Miata. It's been heavily modified. They have a spec Miata series. I didn't want to do that. I didn't want to be put in a box. This car over here kept me in a box. I wanted to go outside the box, so I built this.
Okay.
I paid $800 for this car originally from somebody in Carolina. I probably got 10 times that in.
Oh, sure, yeah.
I built a full custom cage. It's on its second motor. The first one couldn't stand it. So it's a 1.8 liter supercharged, Jackson Racing supercharged, pushing about 10 pounds of boost through the supercharger. It's got Bilstein shocks. It came off a spec Miata. 15 by 9s on this set of wheels. My 15s by 10s might pull up the FedEx truck while we're standing here. I bought a new set of race slicks. This car was built really not for Wacky Wednesday at Langley.
Okay.
It was originally built to with a big wing and my super speedway front splitter. We built it to go do road course racing.
Okay.
And I haven't made it to the racing part yet. I've done time attacks, but I haven't done any one-on-ones. I probably won't one-on or door-to-door with this. I probably would just do time attacks and stuff of that nature. I'm actually leaving Friday to go down to VIR to run down there for 2 days with Tidewater Sports Car Club. But it does have an inspection sticker on it. It is, for the most part, street legal.
Oh, street legal. Okay.
Yeah, it's it'll pass. It's got good brakes, good tires. I have a set of Maxxis slicks.
Now you say, do you do all the work yourself, or do you farm out some of it?
I do all of it myself. Well,
Okay.
with the help of Dad.
Yeah, help with that. Well, that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Family
Yeah,
run.
it's
Yeah.
the little 1.8 liter stock motor
Mm-hmm.
is puny. Makes like 105 horsepower when it's new.
Right.
So we threw a supercharger on it, and yeah, it does okay. It's tuned on E85 flex fuel. It makes about 180 now.
Right.
In full race trim. When I turn the tune up a little bit, it does pretty good. Top speed, I don't have an idea.
Right.
I know VIR 5th gear, I'm getting all I can get with it. The aero does play a huge factor in it.
Right.
Aerodynamics is nice. Plant the front end and plant the back end. Miatas are a good go-to car.
Mm-hmm.
They're cheap. Like I said, I bought this one, it was $800. It wouldn't start. Had a little bit of issues, but for under $200, I had it running. And they're cheap. They're pretty easy. They're not made for tall people.
So I heard we have a driver in training. Is that the right word to use? I think maybe, and they always say there's always a good woman behind the man, but apparently it sounds like she's going to try to get in and drive this as well. Is that the case?
So at the end of last year, most of the time I do track stuff.
Right.
I do track events, and I go out to Wacky Wednesday, and I got Crystal involved in Wacky Wednesday, and I won the 2020 Wacky Wednesday time attack points with this car. So it does its job very well. So at the end of last year, season was ending, wanted something to do, and I was trying to convince Crystal to drive it, and she was kind of scared of it, and she was actually going to run out the King of the Hill, and she's like, I don't want to do that, I'm going to run my car. So I took her up to Tidewater Sports Car Club's last event they held last year up at somewhere, one of the drag strips in Richmond, and I put her in the driver's seat of this. She did pretty good with my instruction. So I was in the passenger seat doing rally car instructing.
Now wait a minute,
All right,
wait a minute. Crystal's here. Crystal's here. Let's bring her in.
There's always two parts to this story. So yeah,
Why don't you tell us the truth, Crystal?
the lower side of the story.
So, looking
What
at these,
had happened was
So, looking at these seats, I'm a woman, I have hips. Sparky does not. So I'm like, number one, I'm not gonna be able to fit in this thing. That's just not gonna happen. So he says either you get in it and drive it, or you don't drive it at all. So of course I'm gonna get in, I'm gonna drive it. So I got in there, I strapped up, and all he did was sit in the passenger seat and do this. That's all he did. So I don't know if that's instruction, just this way, but I do know that I got these slicks to spin around. I do know that.
So here's what really happened was, I was in the passenger seat with her all day, helping her out. We were rotating back and forth. The last run of the day, she says, I want to go out on my own because she's competitive. There was this other woman that she was trying to beat her best time. So she had the fastest woman time of the day.
had to get your fat ass out of the seat, didn't she?
Yeah, all 150 pounds she had to get me out. I was a weight problem. Well, evidently I wasn't the weight problem. I was the weight advantage. So she goes out, she takes off, she makes about 3 or 4 turns in the autocross, and what does she do? She spins it out. So,
There you go.
But I continued my track and still finished with a good time. I think I was like 3rd out of like 6 or 7 girls. Or
That's
4th or
awesome.
something like
Well,
that.
that's
It
good,
wasn't
that's
too
great.
bad.
so you know, once I got out of the car, she spun it by herself. So
Yeah.
whether it was the weight or my direction.
I'm sorry, his instructions like this I needed for my last race,
So yeah.
All right, so the Miata has proven to be fun. You've been in this car for 3 years, 4
about
years.
3 years,
Yeah.
4 years. It's
So anyways, again, this one was at the Coastal Virginia Auto Show, and again, it's comparing this one to this one. I mean, it's really a night and day experience.
this is full race car.
Yep.
And this is
Modified something or other.
Yeah, this is like 95% race car. It's fine. I drive it to the track.
Yep.
So
You got some cool pieces on the inside. All this stuff on the inside is custom door panels and all that other stuff. You're not buying this stuff off the shelf, are you?
actually, I did buy the door panels.
Okay.
I didn't want to get into bending aluminum.
Okay.
But I bought the door panels. But everything else you see, you get some pretty good pictures of the dash and everything else. It's
Now, is there night racing as well? I mean, I noticed on this one, obviously you have lights and all that for regular date.
I think that's all the
regular
inspection
driving.
stuff. You got to get this
I know for
inspected to run it
but I'm
wacky.
saying,
Yeah.
is there nighttime racing when you take this as
So
well?
there is a couple different things they do at night. There's some endurance races and some other stuff that I haven't gotten into yet. But basically, lights and headlights and taillights are for driving back and forth to the track.
Okay.
All right, we're going to take a little
Let's
look
go
at
over to the next
the
one.
around the car, and also we're going to take a look under the hood too, just to check out, just so you guys can see what a tiny engine on steroids looks like, right?
Yeah, that's right.
All right, so stay tuned. All right, so we moved on to the next one. We are out here still with Sparky. We're going to talk about the Subaru STI, Impreza, WRX, the whole thing. So give us a shebang on this. This car is beautiful. I don't care where you take it. It's a showstopper. So tell us about this one.
So this is my 06 STI. I bought it brand new, September 19, 2006. So you can tell I love it. This has been my pride and joy since the day I bought it. One of my buddies bought one before me, and I rode in it. I said, I gotta have one. So it took me 2 years to buy one, so finally got it, and I might take it to my grave with me. It's on air, some 18 by 8 BBSs. It's got every bolt-on mod engine I can do, besides doing the bottom end. It's got a nice sound system, pretty decent interior, stock seats. I've done some little odds and ends things inside to clean it up. Of course, it's on the E85 Flex tune as well, because I love my corn juice.
Right.
But it's just basically been my my little weekend car that stays in the garage 95% of the time, and keep it clean. That's about it.
Run it to car shows, and that's about it. Huh?
Yeah.
What's the mileage on this thing?
It's 47,000.
All right. So again, we take care of it, and the thing is that Subaru people love Subarus. I have several Subarus, and it's an illness, but you know, we don't mind being sick. Again, we're going to do a little look around with this one. He definitely has a nice sound system set up in this thing. We'll take a look at the pretty pairing stuff on the underside. He has one of the brackets on the back as well.
We'll air it out for you.
Yeah, there you go. Good deal. And then also the underbody effects. These are the pieces down the bottom. Is that a certain brand, or something you got off eBay, or what?
No, it's Duraflex, just a Duraflex lip kit. That's all it is. Nothing crazy. Just something class it up a little bit.
I almost feel bad because talking about this car compared to these cars, I mean, I love this car more than those cars, but still, it seems like, okay, we want more pizzazz, right? But anyways, we love the blue color. It's got the interior and all that other stuff, so we'll take a look at that, and then we're going to move on down the line and take a look at another car, so stay tuned.
All right, so 1, 2, 3, 4. This is number 4. And I'm wondering, should we have Crystal talk about this one, or does she I'm sure she's part of this whole buildup of this car and all that.
She can
and
tell
she
you
is actually going to be the one driving it, so I'm wondering if we should give her the floor to do this.
She can tell you a little bit about it.
Not when it comes to race cars. I like to think my ST's a race car, but it's
Right.
nowhere near what we're putting into this. It's just a basic DC2 tag. We're putting a B18 motor in it. There's a lot of rules when it comes to Langley Speedway.
Right.
I'll be racing the U car division. I was told this year that they're looking at 20 cars, 15 to 20 cars
be
coming
nice.
out this year, the
Okay.
first race. A lot of people think I'm going to be intimidated to run the first race, so they're expecting Sparky to, but they obviously don't know
you.
They don't know me. I'll run just because, but I'm really excited about the build of it. Dad, Mr. West, has been helping a lot out with this car. It's a lot. I mean, literally, I get off of work at 5 o'clock. I go home with Mom for like an hour and a half, and then I'm in the garage working with the guys until about 10 or 11 o'clock at night, and
Wow,
then go straight
sure.
to bed.
Right.
So it's pretty much like a 6-day-a-week thing. We try to take one day off just so we can spend some time together and with the kids. And but it's a lot of hard work. Definitely a lot of hard work.
So I see, you know, we painted it purple, and the purple, is that going to carry over to the outside as well, or what are you thinking on the outside as far as color?
This is a tribute to my ST. My ST has a custom color of purple and green that was done by Tony G. It's a liquid wrap, so I wanted this to reflect my ST car since I do racer at Wacky Wednesday. We are going to do a two-tone color on the outside too. I want to get it towards like a kind of like my ST. I don't know as far as a painter what he is allowed to do in his skill set.
Right.
And we haven't really sat down and talked about it, but pretty much that's going to be like sponsored out because of Sparky. So.
Very cool.
So tell us about the powertrain and all that stuff that needs to go in this and where that is as far as build up right now.
Well, this car's, it's a long way from where it started, and it's a long way from where it's going to end up. We got the car, it was a full interior street car, and it's been stripped and had a custom cage bent, and I got it all put together this week. Actually about last week or week before last, I got the cage all finally finished it this week, and we got it painted on the inside. The outside doesn't look that great, but that's done last.
Yeah, that'll be last.
I don't want to mess up a nice fresh paint job, but it's going to be a V18 C1 motor with just a GSR transmission. Hopefully make around 160 horsepower at the wheels. This is kind of like, it's not a spec car like my Legend, but they run Hoosier tires, they have tire rules, they have weight rules.
Okay.
It's got to weigh 2,400 pounds.
So what class will this be in then?
This is considered a U-car.
U-car.
They start off with Enduros, and then they go to U-cars. Then depends on how far you go to mini stocks or whatnot. But,
And does the U stand for anything, or is
so U-car was, I can't remember what year it was made or developed, but it's supposed to stand for You Can't Afford Auto Racing. I'm not sure how much of that is true.
Okay.
This motor, I dropped it off about 2 weeks ago up at Apple Machine Shop, and hopefully the time I get the motor back, I'll have, I don't know, about $1,500 in getting the motor built. Then between suspension and tires and the car and the cage, we're not going to include my labor. We're still about $6,000 into it.
Sure.
So I don't know how You Can't Afford Auto Racing applies, but it's still not cheap.
You just paid for like 6 Hondas right there, dude.
It's
thinking
fast
that's like
food for us. I
labor,
mean,
so-
we're lucky we get to eat sometimes, you know? I mean, it's
Sometimes I don't eat.
yeah, it's a lot. When people think about racing, they think it's easy. I did because I had an ST, and I'm like, well, I drive a fast little car. It's, you know, it's a race car. But then coming and working on this, it's nothing like it. And it's a lot more money invested in this because when you go out to Wacky or to Langley Speedway and you're racing 15 cars compared to one-on-one,
Right.
if you hit anything, you're rebuilding again.
Sure.
So it's more money out of your pocket. So the initial build may be $6,000, but throughout the repairs of the whole year, you're probably in $12,000, almost like rebuilding a whole nother car.
Well, and what's nice is it's couples racing more or less, and you're doing everything together,
Yeah.
which is what it's all about too.
So
it's
I
not
don't-
just you out there doing it. Crystal's now involved and running and shows a love for it, and
Yeah, it's
you better watch out because she's going to be in the same class here with you pretty soon. And
I'm so
she would
ready.
love
Oh,
that.
my
I'm
goodness.
so ready. See, it's funny, when we first started Wacky, when I got out there, I was very nervous. And I took the track at probably my time was 30 seconds.
Yeah,
And
26,
I was so embarrassed. And I was like, oh, heck no, this is not happening. And then my second lap was a 26. And I got all the way down to a 22. And King of the Hill, I placed 6th out of, 30, 40 cars. I
Something like
placed
that.
6th. And I was just so competitive. And then I raced Sparky, and I won. I did win. Now, he did give me a very long length of car advantage, but the point is I won.
Just 8 cars in the hill.
But, you know,
Handicapper.
Yeah.
it's nice doing this with him. And it's funny because at Wacky, the announcer, all he kept saying was Sparky West's girlfriend. And I'm like, I need my name. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I do not mind being his girlfriend, but I am Crystal. Like,
Right.
call me Crystal.
I am woman, hear me
You know?
roar.
And it's so funny because they kept talking about, you know, how is she trained? Like, Sparky must really be working with her. And I'm like, what? I mean, he does. He did. We, on Saturday nights, when he was racing and he had time, we would drive around Langley Speedway track, and he would show me how the cars would go on the bank and how they would come down and my positioning. So he did spend a lot of time with me on showing me, because he wants me to be good at this.
Sure.
But he's also my harshest critic.
Well, that's
so.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, everybody else is
Definitely.
like, "You're doing so good, Crystal." Like my last race of the year, I raced his really good friend who drives a Miata, and we were neck. He only gave me a 1-car advantage on the inside lane, and I think I won the first race. Well, the whole audience was like, "No, rerun that race. She won. She won." You know, because my mom and my kids were up there cheering for me, and the guy's like, "We're gonna rerun. Do you mind rerunning?" I was like, "Sure," you know, because I really like that guy. I respect him. So we ended up running again, and I beat him again, and I was so excited that I was in the final 6 of this King of the Hill for $500. I was like, "Oh, this is awesome." I knew I was gonna win. I didn't have that type of skill set yet, but I was just so excited because it's different for women to go out there and compete in an all-male hobby. And I'm a big activist for women who build their car. I mean, I want you to build your car, put your time in your car. This is your car. If people don't love your build or the way you do your car, who cares? It's your car. It doesn't matter. And I will say this, I don't like to give him so much credit because he just eats it up, you know, because I could be running really good. He'd be like, "Oh, you could do better." But
Well, I'm always pushing.
if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't be into this. If it wasn't for him, I would not be as competitive as I am. So I am very thankful for him. When you love somebody like this, you know, I don't, at nighttime it's kind of hard for me I don't like to drive very much. When we go places, I always make Sparky drive just because I want to drive.
She likes to be chauffeured.
Yes. So we were coming back one night. We had just took a trip to Carolina to pick up my racing seat and look at the racing suits and the helmets. And we were coming back from a 11, 12-hour drive.
We went to Charlotte and back in one day. So.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And I said, "Can you drive?" And we had to get the ST because I had the car seats in there. He said, "Sure." And we're coming down Hampton Center Parkway and just having a general conversation going 45. Next thing you know, a deer just runs out in front of us. And I mean, he couldn't stop because it blindsided us. Luckily, the airbags did not deploy. The frame was not bent in any sort of way, but it did mess up the front end. And the deer was dead, unfortunately. And I just started crying. I wasn't even upset about
The deer.
the deer. I was upset. That sounds so heartless, but I mean, I feel sorry for the animal, but I was more upset like, "Oh my gosh, this is my car, you know, what is going on?" And then we ended up getting into Coxton's the next day. And I said, "Please, please, please do not tell me you're going to tow it out. Like, this is my baby. I can't have you do this." And a lot of my aftermarket parts I have on that car is extremely expensive. I like to buy the top when it comes to aftermarket parts. And the insurance adjuster is like, "Your aftermarket part is almost as much as your car, you know, so I don't know if this is something we can do." And I'm like, "Well, I might just have to bite the bullet and not include it." Luckily, goodness rained on us, and they ended up paying for my headlights, which cost $900, but he only gave me $7. So the guy who does my custom headlights was willing to take the $7. And for my wrap, they paid for the front end of that as well. So we were able to do all that, but my repairs, I think, are sitting at what, $5,000, $6,000?
Wow.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah, so what we're going to do, we're going to put some stills up here. Crystal's going to send us some stuff that you can just see kind of some of her before stuff and also see the damage from the deer.
Yeah.
And again, about being competitive and all that, you compete in the car shows. I also want to tell our fans that your love and support of car shows. So we're out here in Hampton. I'm over on the other side of the water. So everybody wants to do something, but not everybody's willing to put together something. So tell us a little bit about what you've done to help out the local car scene, if you would.
Okay, so a lot of people, when they think of people with cars, that we're nuisances. We want to burn tires, we want to act crazy, and I'm not going to say that we don't have a lot of people like that. We do. However, the older people, that's 25 and older, we just like to go out and look at cars and see how people do their builds. And I was able to get Kmart, the abandoned Kmart down in Denby, to allow me to host meets there where there was cops that was out there making sure, chaperoning, making sure everybody was doing good. And I had like 5 or 6 cops that I knew from Newport Police Department. They were so awesome about it. They were walking around, even riding skateboards, enjoying the time that we had.
Right.
We usually pull in about 200 plus cars when we do car meets.
Yep.
Everybody enjoys it. I am really strict on people doing burnouts. I have no problem going to somebody and telling them, if you stop, I'm going to have you kicked out of here.
And that's one of the big challenges that everybody has as you're putting together something. If you don't police the activity and you want to be the good guy, you're going to wind up getting your spot burned.
Right.
Yep.
And another thing is disrespecting businesses. Just like AMC 24 in Hampton. It's a beautiful parking lot. unfortunately, we can't utilize that because they have just made it to where they didn't ask, they didn't get permission. When they leave the parking lot, they're disrespectful.
Yeah.
We hosted an event for Memorial Day at Sears, the abandoned Sears, and I had only made it for 50 cars. I had told the security officers about 50 cars, no bigger. They got blasted all over social media, and we ended up with over 400 cars there.
Wow.
So the security guard, which is 2 ladies, was like, "We can't have this." And I'm like, "I understand. I will take care of it." Well, then the cops show up, and I said, "I've got this. Just let me handle it because I know how to get these guys out of here."
Right.
They all left in a uniform line very nicely, and the cops in Hampton congratulated me on being able to control the car scene the way that I did.
Very good.
The good thing is when we do go to car meets, we don't get in trouble. They'll just say, you can't be here, Crystal, and I'm like, okay. But now it's getting to the point with COVID, and I'm trying to obtain a permit for the parking lot in Denby. The only thing is, the last time I spoke to the woman, she said, "I want to give you the permit. You have to carry $1 million insurance policy, and you have to be able to pay a certain fee to us," which is no problem, because if you charge $5 a car, you can make that.
Right.
Not to mention, I would also do it for, like we have a guy in the car club, his daughter has a rare illness, and she needs money for her testing and stuff, so we would do stuff for that. The problem is that a lot of these hooligans want to go out there and mess it up for me, so now they've had reports that there's been people having meets there without permission, and now my permit is put on hold.
And now it's tied back to you, sort of.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, "Hey, we're not going to give you the permit," because they're still out there doing it
Yeah.
without
so
a permit.
It's a little frustrating. Those are the kind of things that we try to organize things because John and I enjoy organizing stuff for whatever reason. We're pretty good at it.
Beating your
So
head against the wall.
Crystal's along the same line. That's also part of what drew me to coming to see these guys. And again, just to sum up, this is our Sweetheart Special.
Sweetheart session.
So far, so
before
good
we
here.
depart
We're doing well.
do you have a site or somewhere that people can
Okay,
find all your meets or your
so
events?
we were driving back from Charlotte, and I said, "Hi, I don't think it's fair that you have SparkyWest.com because I think I deserve my own link, because I just think I do." And he said, "You know what? You're right, sweetie." So he gets online, and he did it, and we now have CNSRacing.com, which is Crystal and Sparky, because I'm number one in his life. So what I did do,
Smart
which is
man.
pretty cool, is for my Langley Speedway number, you have to pick your number. And I picked 199. And the guy said, "Why do you want 199? I said, "Because I'm number one in 99's heart."
I'm going to throw up now.
Yeah,
So enough about
me
her.
too.
We're going to go back in time a little bit to 2012. So 2012 was a significant year for 757 auto events. Sparky was involved in that in a huge way.
We did Winterfest.
We did Winterfest out at
Yeah.
Langley Speedway.
I remember
So
that now. Yep.
Winterfest was really young then, and we had enough people that were interested in it. So, a long story short, we were able to put Winterfest at Langley because of Sparky. Apparently, he had keys to the place, so we just kind of we had permission to be there. Anyways, Winterfest it far blew out any anticipation of what I thought. I was like, yeah, we'll get one porta potty, and then we'll probably have 100 cars, and we're going to be doing great. There was 800 cars. We filled up the pits. We filled up the outside track as well.
Yep.
The inside of the track was done. The outside of the track was starting up. We had a little bit of trouble with people cruising around, but we kind of put that fire out, and then it was a great event. We had a lot of people out there. There was nothing going on. It was the winter time, winter time, and it was postponed because the track was frozen. It snowed on the original date, so we had to go 2 weeks later, and still it was an awesome event. We provided free hot dogs.
Yeah.
That was about it.
Yeah, I'd love to do that again. That was awesome, having the cars backed all around the track and the cars across the infield. And actually have a whole bunch of pictures from up on the spotter stand of the track, how full it was.
Yep.
It was a pretty awesome event.
So again, I just want to just backtrack because we appreciate everybody that we come across, and Sparky did a solid for me there because we had the meet at the Chesapeake City Park, and they didn't really like us bringing out X number of cars, but I mean the Langley track was an outstanding thing.
Yeah. Let's see if we can talk to them and
See what we can do.
see if we can do it again.
Yeah. So we've been doing Winterfest at Bayside Harley Davidson. We're going to be out there again. We have plans to do it in March. We've changed the name, so it's the same event, but it's changed the name, so it's the Bayside Spring Carb Truck and Bike Show.
Maybe
But
I'll
anyways,
have something I could bring out.
There you go.
I might be able to put something together.
All right, so I want to say thanks for showing us all the cars. We're going to bring the family together again and then just do a little Bon Voyage here. So big plans. I mean, you got a lot of irons in the fire. Fortunately, some of this stuff is kind of done. You know, this here is still got a lot of concept and a lot of labor to go into it.
Yeah.
No glass, that's one big one.
That'll be easier. She's getting a windshield and a window net and a motor. Should be good. The Legend, it needs a motor put in it. We're working on getting some funds together, putting a motor in that. Them motors, let me tell you something. People talk about money and cars. The motor alone for that car is $8,000.
Hot dog.
That little tiny 3-cylinder
That's
motor.
4 more Hondas, dude.
Yeah, that's 4 more. That's 4 Hondas. Wow.
All right, stay tuned. We're going to get the family together. One last go. Okay, so we are out here. We're going to do our little wrap-up thing. I want to say thank you to the West family. Thank you to Crystal. Thanks to John. Thanks to Dr. Mark. Again, find me on US 1061. So we got that for you there, a little souvenir.
Heard you got your own little radio show tonight now.
We're working on something, so we appreciate our Sinclair family for putting me on with the radio. So find me on Sunday nights for right now, and we'll see where that moves to. We got a couple of decals here from the Coastal Virginia Auto Show, and then also our On the Road episode. So that's for you guys there.
Sweet.
Speaking of On the Road, we have our sponsor we want to thank, brand new. We got Audio One as our sponsor. They have like
Welcome
5
aboard.
locations. Yeah, we appreciate them. Audio One, fantastic community support. They've done events. They sponsored events for me directly. They sponsored events for John as well. Spring Dust Off is coming up, so they're going to be the title sponsor for that.
They are the title sponsor, yep.
Yeah,
This
so
will
we're
be
looking
year
forward
7.
to that. COVID and all that other business, if we got to push it, we're going to push it, but we're looking forward to it this year. We also have from the County Grill and Smokehouse, we have $100 worth of County Grill and Smokehouse coupons for you there for your little sweetheart dinner. So awesome. It's a good value there, so you could actually double date there and probably be able to cover it with that bill there.
I think it's worth saying again that this has been a great time and a great journey out here. We love the history, the stories that are behind. We had several of them today. Mark and I really enjoyed doing this, and so thank you for letting us come out and hang with you guys for a little while, and we learned a lot. So.
Every time we come out, it always seems to be a little bit more than we were expecting.
It does.
This was awesome.
But this is great.
Yeah, hopefully you guys learned something. It's going to be a long episode because there's lots of content. You don't want to miss out on any of it. So, parting words, we want to say thank you so much for having us out. We are very happy with what you guys have going on. We can't wait to see what the future brings for you. Congratulations to the 4 of yous. All right, so we are on the road. We want to say thank you to everybody. Thank you to our sponsors, like, follow, and all that other business. Coastal Virginia Auto Show, CV Auto Show, all of that stuff. Thank you so much. We'll see you on the road.
See you on the road.
Bye, guys.
Bye. Thank you.
String me up just to cut me down.